Kosta, we've got so much to talk about tonight. We're just days away from the first presidential debate that will change everything or nothing. So let's get right into our continuing coverage of Indecision 2024. If you've been tuning out the presidential campaign so far, I get it. It's boring. I mean, my grandpa is also a rambling 80-year-old man. And let me tell you, I keep half an ear open for the word inheritance, and I just ignore everything else. But the presidential campaign won't be boring for long, because this week, Trump and Biden will be rambling face to face. That's right. Thursday is the first presidential debate, and these men are going toe to toe. And if you've ever met or seen old men's toes, you know that's going to be a dirty fight. Finally, the American people will have something to judge these candidates on, aside from the 4 years that they were both president already. And Joe Biden, for one, he's ready for battle.
The president this morning continues to be hunkered down at Camp David. He is fine-tuning his messaging, honing his attack lines. He's huddling there with over a dozen advisors. And over the coming days, his prep is expected to evolve from gaming out questions and answers to holding 90-minute mock debates.
Yeah, that's the most dubious thumbs up I've ever seen. That's the football player as he's being carted off the field. He's going to be okay, folks. His thumb is working. But that's right. Joe Biden is holding up at Camp David and doing 90-minute mock debates, although most of that is just him walking up to the podium. And if you're wondering who could possibly prepare him for debating Donald Trump, well, Joe Biden has just the guy.
Attorney Bob Bauer will be standing in for Trump during mock debate sessions, yelling insults at Biden and trying to get under his skin.
You're playing a role. You're trying to make the experience as realistic for the person you're working with as possible.
Really? The guy who plays Santa Claus at the Bad Mall, this is your Trump? I don't know if he can replicate the unhinged madness of debating Donald Trump. The only Biden staffer who could pull that off is that dog that keeps biting everyone in the face. But regardless of how he prepares, there's one thing Biden can be sure of: where exactly he's going to be on that stage.
We're getting more details today about how the high-stakes debate stage will look. Biden won the coin toss and chose to stand on the right side of the stage. Why the right? There's actually a scientific reason. When there are two people on stage, TV viewers' eyes are drawn to the right side.
Wow, thank you, science. I mean, hey, any news on a cancer cure? No? Maybe whenever you're done debating left or right, possibly? Hey, it may usually be true that viewers' eyes are drawn to the right, but in this case, they'll be even more drawn to the neon man ranting about how toilets don't flush anymore thanks to transgender swimmers. But I do like this coin toss thing. You know, why stop with the debate side? Let's have the coin determine who wins the election. Yeah, it would be so much less stressful than 5 months of campaigning. Just flip the coin. Heads, it's Trump. Tails, it's Biden. If the coin bounces and rolls into the sewer, it's RFK Jr. Anyway, that's what Joe Biden is up to. But preparing for the debate is not the only way to prepare for the debate, because Joe Biden's opponent, well, he's taking a different approach.
Almost everything that President Biden is doing, Donald Trump is not. There are no mock debates. There are no rehearsed punchlines or pivot points. The former president also didn't take any time away from the campaign trail.
Tell me a little bit about how you're preparing for the debate, right? Because we see that President Biden is out at Camp David. You're on the campaign trail. What's your strategy for the debate?
Well, this is really the best strategy right here. We have all these people screaming questions.
Okay. First of all, no one's screaming questions. You're elevated on a platform talking at people the whole time. And how convenient is it that Trump's debate prep is holding rallies, the thing he wants to do anyway? It's like when finals were coming up and you had that one friend who would say, you know, I retain information better when I'm high. You know, it's like, just to be clear, that was my friend. That wasn't me. Okay? Of course, when you don't prepare for a debate, you run the risk of losing the debate. So it helps to lower expectations a little bit.
Trump appears to be lowering expectations and making excuses ahead of the upcoming presidential debate with President Biden.
So I'm not underestimating him. I assume he's going to be somebody that will be a worthy debater.
Maybe I'm better off losing the debate. I'll lose the debate on purpose. Maybe I'll do something like that.
All right. Don't lower expectations that far. Maybe I'll lose the debate. Maybe I'll shit my pants and run off stage crying about how much shit is actually in my pants. That's how you'll know I've won. But this brings up an interesting quandary for the Trump campaign. Right now, Trump is saying Biden is a worthy debater. But don't forget, for the past 3.5 years, he's been saying Biden is a demented moron with the brain power of a Love Island contestant. So how are Republicans going to explain it if a guy they say has Jell-O for brains really does beat Trump? Well, don't worry. They have a plan.
The Trump campaign and the Trump allies, they keep floating this conspiracy that Biden is going to be amped up on drugs.
They're going to need to goose him and juice him.
A lot of Red Bull, a lot of caffeine pills.
He's on Adderall or he's on Ritalin.
Excedrin that has caffeine in it.
Hopped up on B12.
IV fluids.
Monster Energy drink.
Or something.
Whatever happened to all that cocaine that was missing a month ago from the White House? Whatever happened?
Look, we all know what happened. That dog snorted it before it bit someone's face off. Seriously, is conservative media now just wildly speculating that the president is on drugs? Could be cocaine, could be Adderall, maybe both. I mean, at this point, Fox News is basically my friend's group chat about Justin Timberlake. So yes, the Republican talking point is that if Biden does well, it's because he's taking performance-enhancing drugs, which is just such a stupid conspiracy theory. Because, first off, if Biden's body could handle even half of what they're saying, he's the strongest man alive, He'll win the presidency and the Kentucky Derby. Now, just by the way, Trump isn't really one to talk, because in the same speech where he claimed Biden is mentally incapacitated, he was going around saying things like this.
And my stupid people, when I wanted to refute it, they said, sir, don't dignify it with a refuttal. Refutal or a refuttal? What the hell word would that be? Refuttal? What they'll say, he didn't know refuttal or refutal, but they don't know either.
It's neither. It's neither of those words. What do you mean they don't know? No, I don't know what fake word you're trying to say. This dude's entire brain is just squiggly red spell check lines, and then his mouth always tries to refuttal every thought he has. That's the big difference between Biden and Trump. When they make a mistake, Biden will correct himself, whereas Trump will deflect and call everyone else an idiot, which, to be honest, is more relatable. It's like when I get too drunk and then I accuse everyone else of being drunk instead of just focusing on the road, right? So, thank you for laughing. So, on one hand, Biden's taking the whole week to prepare, and on the other hand, Trump's raw dogging it. Two very different approaches. But which one's right? For more on the debate over whether to prepare for a debate or just to wing it, let's go to Desi Lydic and Troy Iwata. Desi, you're for preparation. Why is that better?
Thank you, Michael. Preparation is the better approach because it gives you the tools you need to lay out your position, project confidence, and do this thing with your thumb. Because as Thomas Edison said, genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Thank you.
Very wise. Troy, why are you pro-winging it?
Because I'm not a dork. While Desi was in the nerd zone, I was eating a double cheeseburger in a pool, staring at a cloud that looked like a double cheeseburger. And what did all that studying do for her? I can also quote Thomas Edison, if you build it, he will come.
He did not say that. That's from Field of Dreams.
Yeah, I did like that movie. I'm going to give a point to Troy for that. Now, Desi, it's a good movie. Desi, try again. Try again.
Okay. Preparation gives you the best chance of crafting your answer, all right? And I will prove it. If I were prepping Joe Biden to answer a debate question on inflation, here's what I do. I'd arm him with a 6-point economic plan that addresses rising costs, job creation, affordable housing, tuition costs, abortion rights, and always landing on a charming story about a factory worker named Jack.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Blah, 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 blah. Do you really want the Queen of Library Town talking about a plan? Or do you want someone like me who just says, don't worry, I got this?
Yeah. See, Desi, it seems like he's got this. Point to Troy, you know?
That is not a point for Troy. What he's saying is empty. Someone who prepares for debate is someone who prepares for everything, and that's what you want in a president.
Look at this cat that I drew. It has swords for arms. Isn't that cool?
What? Dude, that is awesome. Another point for Troy. It's cats. Yeah, Desi, you're not selling me on preparation right now.
Okay, fine. You know what? I'm nimble. I can see that being unprepared is winning this debate. So let me tell you this. In my preparation for being prepared, I also prepared a scenario where I am unprepared. Huh? Okay? Look at me. I don't really care about this. I'm easy, breezy, lemon squeezy.
Okay, let me just stop you there. That was so bad. I'm going to give another point to Troy. I mean,
seriously, look, yes. Okay, policy is boring. Preparation is nerdy, but this country needs people that are prepared to run it. A debate isn't some Bravo reunion. It's where candidates outline their policies and platforms, their belief systems. So yes, running the country is the one test you have to study for.
Okay.
Counterpoint, I'm on the right side of the TV screen.
You know what? Troy wins. Troy wins. Desi Lydic and Troy Iwata, everybody.